Here we go.
Last month, my family and I finally did something that has been on our bucket list for a little while now, and that's taking everybody to Disney World. If you have watched any of our videos on the other channel, you know that we've kind of referenced that this would be kind of a dream trip for us. But we wanted it to be a very specific type of trip. We knew that we weren't going to be there for a long time. We knew that we only had a day or maybe two to explore as much of the park as we could, and there's going to be a lot of us. And that's why we opted to go with this. The VIP tour. And I have some thoughts. So I'll break down this video into a few different sections. First, I'll talk about what is the VIP tour experience at Disney World. I'll talk about what it was like booking the actual experience. I'll talk about the experience itself, what the day looked like for us. And then I'll also talk about the expectations versus the realities of what we actually got to experience. And then finally, of course, I'll talk about the price and the cost of all of this. If you want to skip ahead, you could find the timestamp right over here and you can jump right to that. I know that's a big part of why people want to watch these videos and understand what this VIP experience is. You want to know the cost. So I can do the breakdown for you over here. But let's start from the beginning. So what is the VIP tour experience at Disney World? It's actually marketed as this private VIP tour offered directly from Disney World. I know that there are some like third parties that offer things similar, but we went with the one that was directly from the park. We wanted the most legit experience possible. You have the ability to enjoy your favorite attractions at a quicker pace. I think the official wording that they have is enjoy attractions efficiently. And one of the things that I do like about the page online where they talk about the VIP experience is that they're actually transparent about what the pricing looks like. Oftentimes you're met with call for more details, call for pricing, or let us know if you're interested. There's some sort of barrier or wall. On the Disney website, they're actually pretty transparent to a point. What they say is that it is ranging from $450 to $900 per hour for a tour guide with a minimum booking of 7 hours. And now that variance basically depends on the time of year. If it's a busy season, it's higher. If it's a lower season, then it's not as high. And then you can have a maximum spend of up to 10 hours. And another thing to note is that one tour guide is good for 10 guests. So that rate that you're paying is good for up to 10 people, and that includes infants. So our group in particular, we had 7 adults, 1 toddler, and 2 babies. And that took up the entire head count. So that's something to keep in mind. If you do go over that head count, you do have to pay for another tour guide. Even if it's an 11th person, you'll need to get that second tour guide in, and that doubles your rate for the day. So after we decided that this is something that we definitely want to do, one of my first steps was to give them a call. And essentially what they told me was, hey, so for this date, this is going to be your rate. It's one of our busier seasons, so this is actually what it's going to cost per hour. They kind of stressed the idea that these things book fast. There are a finite amount of VIP tours available every single day, and once they're gone for that day. So we had to do a little bit of planning on our side, talk to our family and our friends, figure out who was down, who wanted to be a part of this. Fast forward about a month, everything settled. We were maybe about 3 weeks away from our trip at this point, and I was like, hey, we might have lost the opportunity to do the VIP tour because of how long it took, but it is what it is. I'll just give them a call and I'll see if there's anything available. Gave them a call and they had 2 slots available for the date that we were going, and I was like, okay, let's do it. Cool thing about this and something of note, I didn't have to pay upfront for the tour right there. I didn't even have to pay for a deposit. All they needed to see was that we had our tickets booked. We wouldn't be charged until about 3 days before the actual tour. So we could cancel up until then, which was a great relief for us, just in case in the last, 2-3 weeks, something would change with the party. Maybe somebody couldn't go, things like that, that would make us not want to do this tour. So we secured it. Main takeaway here, figure out your plans first, book your tickets, and then book the VIP tour. If we didn't do it in that order, we would have been kind of pushed back even more. And what we've realized is that we were very lucky that there was something available. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I talk about our experience there at the day of and some of the things that our tour guide shared with us. But essentially, after I had the VIP tour booked, I was connected with like a concierge on their side of things to help to personalize the experience a little bit better, which I thought was super cool. So they want to know, how many car seats do you need? Are you going to be bringing strollers? Things like that. So they wanted the names of everybody, the ages of everybody. Sometimes they would kind of ask for like height restrictions for like certain rides, all of those things they're asking up front. So I was like, okay, cool. Like this is exactly what I was hoping for, right? I want to kind of tell you what I want and then just kind of get out of the way. That's how Erica and I really are. That's how we handled our wedding with our vendors. We were like, hey, this is what we want. You do it. Like, we don't want that stress. Like, this is supposed to be a vacation. It should be fun and stress-free and just kind of what we want. Like, that's kind of in our mind what VIP means. Okay, so let's talk about the day of and what that actually looked like for us. Well, we decided to start our tour at 12 p.m. because we wanted the tour guide to help us get into the fireworks that wouldn't start until about 7:30 or 8. So we wanted to make sure that the timing worked out and that they could give us that perk without having to pay for extra hours. Because we were starting at 12 p.m., we knew that we didn't have to rush. A big part of the mentality that we had going into it was we want to make sure that we make the most of this time with this tour guide. So we want to be like on it. That already introduced a lot more stress than I was anticipating, just because, you know, that's not what we wanted at the outset of our trip. But again, that's an individual thing. That's something that we brought to the experience. It's not the experience itself. But regardless, we knew that we had a bit of time in the mornings and we wouldn't have to join that early morning rush to Disney for like rope drop or like whatever other people do super early on. What we ended up doing was we got there for around 9 when park opened. And because we knew that the tour wasn't going to start until about 12 p.m., we decided that we were just going to do our own thing for the first 3 hours at the park. It also gave the entire group a little bit of time on their own in their own individual families and pods to do their own thing, because as we're on the tour, we're all kind of joined at the hip. So this 3-hour little pocket at the beginning of the day allowed us to do our individual things. One of the great things that we were able to eat was this creme brulee croissant. I think it was at Gaston's pub or tavern. Amazing. Are you ready for the creme brulee?
Am I ready for the creme brulee? Absolutely. Okay, I get the hype now.
That's good?
When you get the cream, it's a game changer.
While we were eating, I get a text from a number I don't recognize. It's our tour guide. Our tour guide's name is Francesca. If you get Francesca, you will be so happy. She was the perfect guide for us. Very real. I'll talk about her a lot more throughout the day, but she was absolutely amazing for what we needed her to be and for the personality of our group. But she was texting me and she just wanted to clarify where we would be meeting, what time, and she also wanted to clarify just how many car seats that she would be needing for the car and things like that. But a thought did cross my mind. I'm like, your concierge already asked for this information. You know where we're gonna meet. You know how many kids there are. Shouldn't that already be communicated to you? Shouldn't that already be set up? It wasn't a big deal, and honestly at the time it wasn't that big of a red flag, but it was a thought that crossed my mind. And around 12 p.m. is actually when one of the parades was scheduled to start. So as soon as we met Francesca, she got to, you know, meet everybody, say hello to everyone, make our introductions. We're like, hey, we want to watch this parade before we get started. And she's like, perfect. We have the VIP viewing experience, or like roped off area for you. The vantage point was interesting because like we can kind of see the parade coming towards us, especially like the double-decker floats. We can kind of see them eye to eye, and like we would wave to them, and that was really cool. We missed out on a lot of the characters that were basically on the street interacting with a lot of the guests, but that's okay. I think the benefit here wasn't necessarily the vantage point. It was the fact that we were in our own roped off area. We didn't have to like elbow and post up for a spot. We didn't have to go to a spot early to secure it. It was just kind of, we show up when we show up and we can watch, and we don't have to worry about kind of jockeying for position. So that was a really cool experience. We were basically watching the parade in this roped off area. We had a bunch of snacks available to us. We also got some waters that were given to us at the start of the day. This is when Francesca also gave us a bunch of these. So this is the VIP Tours pin. None of the people that were there with us on that tour, including us, are very big like Disney heads. Like we love Disney, we love watching the movies, but in terms of like the culture of Disney, that's not really us. Apparently a big part of the culture is pin collecting. So this is one of those pins, and this happens to be our first pin. Yeah, she was just kind of real about it. She's like, you can wear it, you cannot, just kind of store it, but these are yours. So we're like, all right, cool. Before we got into any rides or anything like that, Francesca was like, let's go meet Mickey. That was basically our first experience going through the Lightning Lane system with a VIP tour guide. So this is where I'll stress that being a part of VIP tours is not front of line access. And we knew this going in, so that's not a surprise or anything like that, but this was when we first started to feel it, because there was still a little bit of a wait when we were going to see Mickey. Not a long wait, not as long as the wait that everybody else was going through, but still. And then we finally got inside and we got to meet the man himself. So our entire party got to pose with Mickey, do a few things with him. Each of the family groups got together with him, and we were in and out. So that was really awesome for us to experience and start off the day like that. Now I want to talk a little bit more about VIP. Now when I think VIP, very important person, I have a certain expectation of what that's going to look and feel like. And I don't know that that's what this was. Now let me explain it to you. It's a great experience, and it is great for what it is, and it delivers on what it says it's going to deliver, except for the VIP thing. I think that it's just named wrong. Like I think of VIPs and I think about like white glove treatment. Now I'm not expecting a red carpet to be rolled out or flower petals at our feet, but I was expecting a little bit more in terms of the quality of the interactions and just kind of the preparedness of the team. Yeah, like I mean, I don't think they knew our names. They didn't know who was there. They didn't know how many kids were going to be there. So it's kind of hard to tailor that experience. We had to kind of like fold up and unfold and pack up all of our strollers into the big vans and all of that. And like, cool, like we do that every day as a family. We're able-bodied, we can do that. And if somebody's struggling with it, we'll help people do that. But I mean, as a VIP, I feel like, hey, let me get that for you, sir. Or anything like that would be really cool. Like I'm thinking about how people are treated on first class. On like flights, because we're definitely paying that premium. Even being like shuttled around, that was cool. Like we got to save time and everything, and I'm not expecting like a bougie limousine or anything like that, but it was just kind of a van. It wasn't like the cleanest, it wasn't like, you know, it was just a van. That being said, it was still a cool experience. We got what was promised to us. It just wasn't a VIP experience. I didn't feel like I was a very important person. I felt like I knew someone that was very important. Does that make sense? Right? Like I felt like because I had somebody with a hookup and I'm like, hey, I'm with them, that's what got me the perks. And as a VIP, I'd expect a lot of other things like food, right? Like we got some snacks. Francesca was really great and she surprised us with some pretzels and some churros, which was really amazing in the middle of the day. So that was really great. But like, it's also a full day that we're there. We're definitely passing lunch. We're definitely passing dinner time. It would be great if a meal was part of what was paid for with the tour. Like if we are to be treated like VIPs, I assume you would feed VIPs and make sure that they're okay. And that a meal at one of these restaurants, which is themed and beautiful and fun, would be part of this experience. And I thought that was a bit disappointing. And even when it comes to like the fireworks and, you know, the roped off experience that we got, the view wasn't the best. Right, like this wasn't like the best view for the fireworks that you could experience. What we got was the experience of not having to wait hours ahead of time to save our spot. But in terms of the view itself, it was obstructed. It was like everywhere that we went, it was really hard to see. So it wasn't the best view. So I would have expected, you know, something better than that. But I do appreciate that we didn't have to kind of wait in line. Now I know I might be sounding like bougie or ungrateful for the type of experience that I got, but that's not it. In terms of the value of what we were paying versus what we received, it just wasn't the same. Now, the last part of this whole kind of expectations versus realities thing, which was kind of disappointing for me in particular, was that we learned through a lot of conversation that there are actually levels to the VIP experience. There is a different type of experience that you get if you're like a celebrity, for example. And what they were describing to us, that experience is more aligned to what we thought we would be getting as a VIP. And this was like back of the ride access, front of line access, a special card that makes you skip everything. You're kind of like taken around, shuttled around as quickly as possible, and no one is in your vicinity. Like, it's truly a private experience. All of those things do exist, but you have to be at a certain level and have a certain like entourage in order to do it. All the stories that we heard of from people doing it just happen to be like super celebrities or super influencers. That part of it was disappointing. That like, hey, like, you're paying a premium, probably the most expensive that any of the guests can pay, but you're not quite the VIP that we think you are just because you're paying for this. There's still another level to it. So I think that part of it devalued the experience quite a bit, just knowing that there was just another level that was not accessible to us, and it wasn't because of payment, it was because of status. So that part of it kind of sucked. And it also sucked more because of the fact that what they were describing was more in line with what I think a VIP should get. Another thing that didn't feel too VIP-ish was the idea that this was an exhausting and stressful experience, even with the VIP tour. So it's a bit complicated. Like, we want to pack in as much as we can because we only have 7 hours, but doing that means that you're running around and you are moving from one attraction to the next. And even if you're moving as fast as you can, it's tough when you have 2 infants and a toddler and 3 different family groups that have their own needs and wants. People need the bathroom, things like that. So to have that added pressure of like, hey, we're gonna miss out on this if we don't move now, that became a thing. We're still thinking about, hey, what's next? We're gonna miss out on this, or we're not gonna get as much out of the money that we're paying for this experience if we don't move right now. Again, all of this is just kind of something that we brought to the experience, but I think it's a pretty common thing to do, especially if you're not like super rich, right? Like, you want to make sure that what you're doing is worth it. So if that is the mentality that you're going into this with, where you're trying to make the most out of those hours that you're with the tour guide, just know it's not going to be a leisurely thing. Like, not necessarily. You're going to be moving around a lot, especially if you're doing Park Hopper. All of that was kind of stressful. And by the end of the night, we were done. We were so tired. But not only that, but like the kids, like they're tired. Like, they're doing this too with their little legs. And that means a lot of time you're carrying them, and it's a lot. Be prepared for that. And if that's some mental gymnastics that you can do going into the day to kind of get rid of that type of vibe, I would highly recommend that. If you can be as carefree as possible with it and kind of have an attitude of like, hey, if we miss it, we miss it, then I think that would make the trip a lot simpler and a lot more stress-free. But with us, and I know a lot of people, if we're paying this much, we want to experience as much as we can, so we're just going to do it. Okay, so now the fun part, which is probably the part that you're most interested in. How much did this cost? So for the timing that we went at the beginning of March 2025. This was right before the busiest season of their year, which we did not know. And that's kind of like spring break season when everybody is off and the thing to do is to come to Disney. Our quoted rate was $650 per hour in USD. And like I said at the beginning, we had a minimum of 7 hours that we would have to spend in order to have the VIP tour, and then that could be extended. That just covers the tour guide. What it doesn't include is your park admission for everybody that is going to be on the tour. It doesn't include Park Hopper, which is an add-on if you want to experience more than one park. All of that you have to purchase in addition to this hourly rate. So it is pricey. It is pricey. It's not something that we kind of decided on lightly. So it came out to $4,550 USD for that 7-hour tour. It's a lot. Now, one of the things that we didn't realize was that we actually went over in our time. with Francesca. By the time we got into the corral where we were ready for the fireworks, it was maybe like 7:15, 7:20. We said our goodbyes to Francesca. We were just kind of like, cool, thank you for the experience. It was great. The next day, I was hit with an invoice for the extra time with the tour guide. It was about like half hour extra that they added on. They basically just prorated the rate, and it was basically to the minute that they billed us. I'm not saying don't charge us for the extra time. I'm saying give us a heads up so that we could have made some strategic decisions about how to end that timing, or whether or not we still wanted to get into the fireworks or whatever. Just give us that option, because we made it very clear that the 7 hours is what we budgeted for. That's what we can do. That's what we're comfortable with. Yeah, it just would have been nice if that communication piece happened, and just didn't. The big question is, was it worth it? This was a very expensive trip, and whether or not it is worth it is kind of up to you. I think parts of it were definitely worth it, and the parts of it were probably weighted higher for us than any of the other factors. Like the experience of like what was VIP and what wasn't. Yeah, they're worth noting, especially in a VIP review video like this, but they weren't the most important things on our priority list. Higher up on our priority list was time and use of time. We knew that we were only going to be in Disney World for a very short amount of time, and with a toddler and the baby in tow, we knew that that experience could be super stressful, and that we would not be able to experience everything that we wanted to if we did it ourselves. To have somebody available to us to remove as many of those barriers, walk us to as close to the front of the line as possible, and just make this a fun and memorable experience for us, that was so much higher on our list than all of the other stuff, which we were able to kind of let go in the moment because it didn't ruin any of the time that we were spending. It's a bit of an interesting calculus, one that you'll have to do individually in your head. I think every single person that goes on a VIP tour has a different opinion about how it went, because everybody does that calculus different. And for us, it was well worth it. We spend time and money on experiences because we know that those are the things that we can't replenish, right? Like our kids getting to go on every ride that they wanted to go on that day without any restrictions in terms of like, oh, we're going to run out of time to do this. Having the opportunity to make that decision, say yes to the ride that they point to and just go and have it done within a couple minutes, that was very valuable to us. And I think that was well worth it to us. Now, what I will say is that if this is something that is not in the budget for you, it's not worth the stretch, right? Like if it's in the budget, go for it. If time is important to you, go for it. So I'll make that caveat, but it is something that is super fun and super worth it and super memorable. Honestly, if we ever do Disney, I think this is the way that we have to do it. Like we have to do it this way. It's gonna spoil the experience for us, because I think we will do it again this way, knowing what we know about the VIP tours and kind of adjusting our expectations and what we have in terms of a mindset going into it. So overall, I think the VIP tour experience, it didn't necessarily hit our expectations in terms of like the full experience and like what we would be getting, but it more than delivered in terms of giving us the time and the memories that we were hoping to build. And I know that there's usually a big debate within parents about like, when should I bring my kids to Disney? At the time, our kids were 4 and 1. So like the obvious thing is like, oh, like it's so expensive, they're not going to remember it. Maybe not, but we will. I'm going to remember every single one of those smiles, the look of awe, the magic that they got to experience. Erica's going to remember that, like riding on rides with our kids and getting to experience all those things. Taking our baby on a bunch of rides, because there are very few ride restrictions in terms of height. So like the entire family can come together. All of those things, that's worth it for us, right? And we have these memories documented. We have videos, we have pictures that we're going to share with our kids for a long, long time. So they're going to get to experience that a lot as well. So for us, I think it was well worth it. But yeah, that's just us. That's what we experienced. That's how we felt about the tours. If you are going on a tour, let me know. Like if you have any questions, we'll see if we can answer them for you, especially if you're doing this tour from Canada and want like a Canadian perspective on it. And if you've been on a tour, let us know, like, what was your favorite part? Like, how did your experience compare to what we got to experience? Because I would love to learn that and kind of be a part of this community, because I think we're probably gonna do this again. I really appreciate you for staying this long, and we'll see you for the next one. Peace.
Sit on it, honestly.
Yeah.
But I let him like do a kids trunk thing, like your arms, like holding onto the top, feet on the bottom.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah, eventually he did want me to carry him. I was like, and then that's when I was like, I'll hold you, but to sit on